চলো এটা উইড্রো ফর্ম করছো, তাহলে উইড্রো ফর্ম করছো।
Dr. Satyaranjan Khanna, welcome. Joydeep here. Professor Utpal Sharma has joined. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. Madam, shall we start? Director, madam, shall we start? Hello. May we start, madam? So, good morning, everybody. We are going to start this session of Vigyan Utsav under the banner of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I request all others to kindly mute their microphone. So we have started in August 2021 and going to conclude in August 2022. So one more session of Vigyan Utsav is remaining. And today we are here with a very important theme, Atmanirbhartha and industry. As you know, that every month Ministry of Science and Technology is giving a theme for this month-wise Vigyan Utsav. And this theme is very important because India, now we are now trying to be Atmanirbhar in all sectors. And industry is a sector through which, and in a true sense, our country can become Atmanirbhar. And for that, science and technology has a very big role to play. We have a very important speakers, very reputed, eminent speakers today to speak about the various aspects of Atmanirbharta and industry from different industry sectors, oil sector, tea sector, sericulture, and instrumentation, then the digital world. So without delaying, I request Director Estek, Madam Kimne Changchan, to welcome all the dignitaries, all the speakers and participants. It is over to Madam Kimne Changchan.
Thank you very much. A very good morning to each and every one of you. This Atmanirbhartha, or so to say, Vigyan Utsav, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. This program, like Joydeep had told, we started from last year, July, August, yes. And now we are finally coming to the end part. We have just one session next month left. So I also just searched myself. I thought over, and I feel that even attending 1 hour or 2 hours of this program, celebrating 75 years of our independence, it is so difficult. Our forefathers, they have fought for our country, they have given up their lives, they have sacrificed so much. And we who has reaped the fruit of their struggle, their sacrifice, we are unable to even join the celebration. I'm just telling, particularly in this program, I have seen that in the beginning, there used to be more than 100 participants, 111, 120, sometimes more than that. But as we progress, every month, the number declines. So this is the tragedy part of it. I also felt very, feel very lazy. Fir aa gaya ye Vigyan Utsav. So I myself used to, I feel that I cannot do sacrifice even a few hours for our independence, for this celebration. So today, I would really like to thank the regular persons who are attending this program. I have seen Nurul Islam, Pradeep Gogoi, so many others from Aryabhata, from College Environment Cell, who are never absent. I think you all deserve a reward. I'm so happy. So just at the beginning of my speech, I just want to thank all those who have regularly attended this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, this program, Vigyan Utsav, that is conducted by this ESTEC. So today, I would like to extend my heartiest welcome, especially to our speakers for today's session, Sri Tadalal Das, General Manager, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Government of India, Dr. Sriparna B. Barwa, Faculty and Head, Center for Industrial Extension, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Dr. Satya Ranjan Sharma, Scientist in Charge, Mycology and Microbiology, Toklai T Research Institute, Dr. Ajizur Rahman, Principal in Charge of Agriculture Training Institute, Titagarh, Dr. Utpal Sharma, Professor, Instrumentation and USIC, Guwahati University, and all the participants today who have taken out your valuable time and joining us today to be a part of this program. We are really honored to have you all with us, and I'm really happy to celebrate Vigyan Utsav, this festival of science, with you all, which have been planned under State Science and Technology Program with month-wise themes. As you all know, the theme for this month is Atmanirbhartha and Industry. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhigyan, or Self-Reliant India campaign, is the vision of New India envisaged by Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji. The aim is to make the country and its citizens independent and self-reliant in all senses, with the 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat in economy, infrastructure, vibrant democracy, demography, and demand. Recently, while addressing the Confederation of Indian Industries, the Prime Minister pointed out the important role that the industry has to play in the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign. New opportunities are offered by the industry, for which there are a lot of policy initiatives like Make in India, ease of doing business, new emerging startups, and about how 60 unicorns were born in India, 1/3 of which were created and came to light during the pandemic times. The need to make Indian agriculture connected to the global market with the help of the government's initiatives and the opportunities which are present that the new India has to grab in the shape of Indian industry and trade. It is time for the industries to take up new opportunities, tackle new challenges, and work in sync with the government to realize the goal of self-reliance. A certain degree of long-term policy and regulatory design, labor and capital market reforms are required for an ecosystem of growth to occur. The stage is all set, and it's time for some rational thinking, innovative and inclusive ideas for a progressive country. So with these few words, I once again extend my heartiest welcome to one and all and to the Vigyan Utsav. Thank you so much. Please kindly stay till the end of the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam, for your remarks on this theme. I think this has set the tone for today's program. So now I invite Sri Gadalal Das, today's keynote speaker. Gadalal Das is the General Manager, Environment at the Directorate General of Hydrocarbons, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Government of India. He has a wide experience in this field of industry, particularly in the hydrocarbon sector. And personally, I am a college friend. We studied together in Cotton College in graduate level. And we're very happy to meet him after a long time, though virtually. So I invite Gadalal Das to deliver his speech. Over to Gadalal.
Yeah, thank you, Jaideep. Are you listening to me?
Yes, yes, yes.
And my
Yes,
presentation is
yes. Yes, we are listening. Sorry.
okay.
It is visible. You may go full screen. Full screen is not coming.
Okay. First of all, respected ma'am, my dear friend Jaideep, all my friends and August gathering. And first of all, it is my privilege to be with you on this particular occasion of celebrating the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And today's topic is very important because it is Atmanirbhartha and industries. And I will focus only a few slides, and that is oil and gas industry. It is known as exploration and production industries in our country, which is very essential for making our energy security. So I'll present only 8 slides over here so that I can complete my presentation within 20 minutes as per the stipulations. We are going to E&P, exploration and production industries, for getting our energy security. First of all, I will focus what is the present status of our oil and gas scenario. What is the target behind it? What the government, what the Honorable Prime Minister has said the target for reducing the import. At the time, I will just mention 2 or 3 issues which the government has already been undertaken and going to implement for doing our energy security in a self-reliance mode. And some of my suggestions will be there so that we can discuss accordingly in this particular forum, because I feel Ministry of Science and Technology and in this particular forum can play a very vital role in the self-reliance of our energy security. Yeah.
Nurul Islam, please mute.
May I continue? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Coming back to our oil and gas productions, this is the scenario. The annual crude oil production in our country is 34.20 million metric ton, and particularly all the oil produced are coming from mostly from offshore area, that is from Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. There is more than 50% of crude oil is producing from offshore area, and remaining crude oil is coming from the onshore, the land area. That is 6 states are there. One is Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Tamil Nadu. And Assam is having high potential of.
Your slides are not moving. Slides are not moving.
Slides are not moving.
Yes, yes. It is only first slide.
Okay. It is moving.
No, sir.
No.
Now it is not moving.
So I think you have to restart the presentation.
So may I continue without slide?
Yes, yes.
I'll stop sharing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. No problem.
Slides are not moving, sir.
Yeah. I'll again try for. It is visible now. The slide is visible now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It is
visible, sir.
It is
Yes,
visible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's working now.
Yeah. I will not go for full screen, but probably this will work. At least we can present the data, because data is very much important for making our self-reliance in our country. And if you going back to the my slide, that we are producing annually around 35 MMT, and out of that more than 50% is coming from offshore area, and remainings are coming from the onland area. And 6 states are there which are producing oil and natural gas. In the case of natural gas also, per day we are producing 90 million metric standard cubic meter, and most of the sharing is coming from offshore area, that is our Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. It is known as Bombay High and Krishna Godavari Basin. And remaining natural gas, including coal-bed methane, is coming from Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, and Tripura. Coming back to that, what have been our reserves as per the data of 1st April 2021, India is having estimated crude oil reserves around 587.335 million metric ton. And largest rivers are found in western offshore, that is Mumbai High and Assam. Assam is having a very large river. In fact, in entire northeast, we are having a very large rivers of crude oil. The estimated reserves of natural gas of India as per 1st April 2021 is 1,372 billion cubic meter, and largest rivers of natural gas is located at eastern offshore, that is Krishna Godavari basin, and western offshore, that is Mumbai High. Now, what is the target? Because you know that India is importing mostly from the abroad, that is 82% of our requirement has been imported. It is not indigenous, and 50% of natural gas are imported. So it is a very challenging matter that how we can become self-reliant on the energy front. And from the consumer point of view, India is the world's third largest energy consumer, and probably it will rely on hydrocarbons to meet its growing energy needs in foreseeable future also. That is why by 2050, as per projected by BP Energy Outlook, India's shares in global energy demand is expected to double from the current. Presently, it is 6%, and it will become 12% by 2050, or account over a quarter of net global primary energy demand growth. That means we are producing very less and we are consuming much more, and our demand is increasing day by day. Honorable Prime Minister in 2015 has given us the target that domestic oil and gas production to be enhanced by reducing the import, and he given us the target of reducing at least 10% by 2022. Even Chief Minister of Assam from Assam has made a target of producing oil from 3.90 million metric ton in 2020-21 to 5.9 million metric ton in 23-24, and to increase the gas production from 3 BCM in 2020-21 to 6.2 BCM in 2023-24. Now I'm going how we can attain. In fact, now it has given the trust by Petroleum Ministry that we should move from oil-based to gas-based economy, because our oil reserves, whatever the oil reserves are there, we can only explore and exploit maximum up to 30% of the reserve, not more than that, because as per the existing technology worldwide, more than 30% exploration is not possible. So our Petroleum Ministry has already made a target by 2030 that presently we are using 6% of natural gas in an energy basket, and we should enhance to 15% by 2030. So how can we increase? We are having in India, we are having a lot of potential in non-conventional gas reserves. That is, first of all, one is shale gas, because we know that whatever the oil and natural gas, this is a conventional energy basket, and shale gas is a non-conventional. It is a bridging between conventional and non-conventional energy gas. And why it is non-conventional? Because shale gas exists in shale. In general, oil and natural gas exist in sandstone, which is conventional and very porous and easily can be extracted. But shale gas, it is very difficult to explore, but we are having a large reserves of shale gas, which can make us self-reliant in energy front. As per the present data is concerned, United States of America is having, they are using around 30% of their gas use as a shale gas, because they struck the shale gas in 19th century itself, but they have started exploring and exploiting the shale gas from 2000 onwards, and in present scenario 2011 data says that they are using 30% of the shale gas as their natural gas. Similarly, India is also having a potential. India is having a potential of recoverable shale gas is around 96 trillion cubic feet. So recovered reserves are identified is Cambay Basin, Krishna Godavari Basin, Kaveri Basin, Damodar Valley Basin in Upper Assam, Godavari Basin, Rajasthan, and Binda Basin. So shale gas can become a game changer if we make properly the plan of technical feasibility, if we properly draft the government draft policy, and if all together we can go ahead, shale gas can become a very game changer in the energy basket to make us self-reliant. Next, it comes as coal-bed methane. Coal-bed methane is also a non-conventional gas. Because why it is non-conventional? After burning the shale gas or coal-bed methane, whatever the byproduct, for example, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide levels are very minimum. So pollutant levels are very minimum. So if you can switch over from conventional gas to this non-conventional gas, in one way we can fulfill the target of whatever the target has been set, that we should reach net zero carbon emission by 2027, as Government of India already made the accord. So we can achieve those targets if we can focus on those particular non-conventional energy basket. After coal-bed methane is very easy to access, just like we are exploring coal from open course mining, but this is a very different process. It is just like a drilling process. Go to drilling, and coal, whatever the coal-bed methane are there, it dissolves in water, and it coming along with water to the surface. By separating water to methane can be extracted, and this can be transported through a pipeline, and it can be used in electricity generations and other purpose. But presently, CBM are not using as a motor vehicle fuel. This can also be possible because our technology is improving. After coal-bed methane, another huge potential in our country is gas hydrates. Gas hydrates is simply a methane gas that is remain in the form of hydrates, and it particularly stays in the offshore area. We are having a huge reserves of gas hydrate in Krishna Godavari, Mahanadi, Andaman, and Kerala Konkan basins. So it generally stays in a shallow sediments along in Indian continental Mars. But the thing is that there are some challenges for commercial exploitation of gas hydrates. So India government has already made one separate institute of gas hydrates, so that whatever the R&D is going on along with the several IITs and several institutes, and very soon Government of India is making a draft policy on gas hydrates, and we will exploring the gas hydrates. And even whatever the reserves we are having in gas hydrates, production of only 10% can fulfill whatever the requirement of our natural gas in our country. So these are the scenario that India can become a self-reliance on the energy front by switching over from oil to gas-based industries. The two benefits is there. One, we can the gas exploration is very cost-friendly, and another is it is very environment-friendly. Whatever the fossil fuel is creating our pollution in our nation, that can be overcome by switching over from oil to gas industry. But it will take time, and it needs several efforts. So what are the efforts are required? I'll discuss one by one, and probably I will complete my presentation after what are the efforts is required. One is industry academia collaboration, because you also know that only industry cannot perform, cannot reach to this target without the support from R&D. And what are the R&D institutes are there in our country? If they come in the collaboration with industry requirement, definitely it will be a synergetic effect. It will be a win-win situation. For example, as before 4 years, I was also a member on PEN IIT and ONGC panel, so that whatever the support will be required for generation of infrastructure and all the costs will be borne by industry, and the brain will be provided by different IITs, and they will choose their domain, which IIT is having the particular domain for the requirement of industry, and accordingly they have generated lot of very costly softwares which we are importing from USA or China and all. But presently we are making all maximum software indigenously through this industry academia collaboration. In Assam also, Guwahati IIT has developed 2-3 softwares for ONGC, and presently it is working very nice. Second thing is inter-institutional tie-up. because we know that we are having a lot of institute with different domain. Every institute has some unique domain. But today in this particular digital world also, we are not communicated properly. We don't know ourselves. This is a very challenging problem, because for example, science and technology is the ministry which is deal with all the R&D institute. But at the same time, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research is also covering a lot of R&D. Other institutes are covering HRD department. So there is a mix, and there is a lot of duplicacy. If one particular institute is doing some research works, similar research works is doing in other institute also. So this duplicacy to be avoided. That is why we need one inter-institutional tie-up, so that the duplicacy can be avoided and we can promote the requirement-based research in our country for making us self-reliant. This is the two very important effort. So we need to be go ahead with this. Next, another is inter-ministerial coordination. In several times, because I am working for a ministry, I understand what is the difficulties in coordinations. So inter-ministerial coordination is also required. For example, only petroleum and natural gas cannot do any wonder if it doesn't get support from Ministry of Environment and Forest, Ministry of other infrastructure, steel, coal. If all the ministry can come forward, no wonder can be made. So that is why an interministerial coordination is very required. Another is interstate cordial relationship also required. Many blocks are there, because recently I went to Orissa, that I found that some of the CBM blocks are coinciding with one is government of Orissa and government of Jharkhand, government of Madhya Pradesh, all are linked. So if one state is having some their own rules regulation, the other state is have different rule regulation. So it is very difficult to follow all the rules regulation before digging all those area for exploring and exploiting coal bed methane. So if the states doesn't come forward and find a solution, so that we are requiring of our energy security, we should go ahead with our self-reliance with the energy basket. It is very difficult to reach this particular target as said by Honorable Prime Minister of India. Now, another thing is that India is very rich in technology. We should feel ourselves. If you go abroad, whatever the technology are going ahead with that, all are Indians. So we are having brains. So it is the very right time that we should give focus to the indigenous technology. We should promote that. And if government give the subsidies to all those technology, definitely our research scholars, our scientists will give it. Definitely they will be encouraged. They can create wonder in generating a lot of patents, lot of technology, new innovations that which are required in our country. So these are all the efforts that only we can go ahead with our self-reliance. Atmanirbhartha in industry can only happen if we collaborate ourselves, if we know ourselves, if we better understand each other institute, each other ministry, each other academics, and we should focus on our primarily our indigenous technology. So thank you very much. This is the small presentation that we are hopeful that energy security, we can attain the energy security by indigenously through Atmanirbhartha, and India is having lot of potential, lot of energy also there. And if you can ask any questions, and you can ask me later on also. And Jadip, I will seek your permission that at 12 o'clock I am having some another meeting. If you allow me, I can leave the August gathering. And thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gadalal Das. Actually, through your presentation, we also came to know about very new opportunities like shale gas, then shale rock, coal bed methane, gas hydrates. These are new areas where actually we should now do research and development, and these are possibilities that we have to explore. As Mr. Gadalal Das will leave, if any particular specific questions one or two participants may have, may ask him. He is a very busy person in the Ministry of Petroleum, so he has to leave. Any question? Otherwise, we will go to the next presentation. Okay, thank you, Godalal Das.
Yes, thank you very much.
We'll have you amongst us in future
Uh,
also.
If in future also you feel that I may able to contribute to your forum, then I'll
Yeah,
be
certainly.
a pleasure.
Particularly, your domain is the environmental aspects. Your expertise will always be required.
Yeah, I have not spoken about environment front because it was the industry of self-reliance. So if any further on sustainability, then I can definitely contribute something.
Sure. We'll have a separate session on that only.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Aldas. So now I invite Dr. Siparna Borua from Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship. Dr. Siparna B. Borua is a development professional with 33 years of work experience in management education and in small and medium expertise development. Dr. Borua is currently associated with the Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship as head, Center for Industrial Extension. She has a different area of expertise because then scaling up of micro enterprises, connecting social entrepreneurs with livelihood projects to ensure sustainability, and helping in industry academia interface. That is one of the area where Godalal Das also pointed out the need for industry academia interface. I think through the deliberation of Siparna Borua, we will be able to highlight some of these aspects. So I invite Dr. Siparna B. Borua from Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship to start a presentation.
A very good morning. A very good morning. Happy to be here with all the distinguished speakers, and time given to me is 20 minutes. So I will not give a presentation. The topic is so broad, the topic that has been given to me. So I don't know through a presentation how much justice can be done, because it says contribution of industry towards Atmanirbhartha Bharat. So, so I thought the major points I will discuss, and then we will maybe, I'll basically flag some of the very important issues today through this deliberation. So when we talk about, let me start, when we talk about contribution of industry towards Atmanirbhartha Bharat, let's try to understand that industry encompasses everything, right? It encompasses large industries, it encompasses MSMEs, it encompasses also the grassroots, because it is the grassroots which are aggregating and through which the supply is happening. So basically, when we talk about industry, we have to look at all the across the value chain, the larger industries, the MSMEs, and at the grassroots, whatever clusters, etc., are there. The large industries, as we know, are all basically government-driven. Whether it's petroleum, etc. Now we do have private players, but then large industries are very, it is something that large industry and Atmanirbhartha Bharat is, because larger industries are also dependent on the MSMEs. So my thrust today would be more on the MSMEs, because that's the sector in which we are working, and entire country is talking about, when we talk about growth, we're looking at growth through the MSME sector only. Let us very quickly, we keep on using this word Atmanirbhartha Bharat. When we keep on using Atmanirbhartha Bharat, apart from self-reliance, we know that Atmanirbhartha Bharat is all about made in India. We know that it's about creating a self-reliant India as on a mission mode, etc. And it has been a campaign for the central government, and now with Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So this Atmanirbhartha Bharat is something that we all talk about. Now, how can industry contribute towards Atmanirbhartha Bharat, and what has been actually happening? One of the biggest push which has happened is through the pandemic, because this entire thrust on Atmanirbhartha Bharat actually could see a lot of relevance, and could see that certain things can actually happen in a very short period of time because of the crisis which had happened. Just look at maybe 3 years back. Were we making PPE kits? Were we making N95 masks? To at least to a point today when the entire industry, which is the MSME sector, is contributing at least 2 lakh such production is happening for PPE kits. Someone is even giving an estimate of 5 lakhs today. So this is something, a crisis had come in, we needed, and then that self-reliance factor could actually happen. So learning from what was possible during this last 2-3 years gives us a lot of indicators as to certain things which we were always thinking that is it possible, maybe we were not daring to dream, is something which is making people realize that yes, we can dare to dream and things can actually happen. So industry is getting very, proactive with this mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat. We're looking at many things which we never thought was possible for production, and these have become possible today. Because one of the biggest lessons, we can't talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat without looking at the period of pandemic. Because what happened during the period of pandemic, there were supply chain disruptions. When there were supply chain disruptions, we realized that even for small things, how much we were dependent on outside. Those things which can easily be manufactured here. We'll go pan-India, but before, let's look at Northeast only. How much Northeast, a simple thing like packaging. Not to talk about simple thing like bottling, packaging, which is very much doable and which can actually be done here. People were not looking at, we were always dependent, even for accessories, because if you look at which are the industries that we have in abundance in Northeast, we have the food sector, agri and allied sector, we have the handloom sector, handicraft sector. Everywhere we were looking at, the packaging became a biggest challenge, apart from logistics, etc. So packaging on small areas, we for example, in the craft sector, even for small chains, even for small bags, which we're taking, if you look at the food processing, because we talk about food processing, even for bottling, we don't have very proper packaging and bottling plants here. Now, these were gaps, and people have identified that these are gaps, and a lot of people have started looking at this as a way in which looking at Atmanirbhar Bharat, can we look at start manufacturing all this. So this has been something. Our dependence of outside, what we are dependent on for outside, has become very clear to us. On which sectors we are so much dependent, and that is actually when we know that these are the areas in which we are dependent, is actually giving a lot of opportunities. With the business opportunities are becoming very clear, provided that raw material or something which is accessible. So these have become extremely some major changes which has happened, and these changes which have happened has happened on a very, very positive light. Because again, we look at Atmanirbhar Bharat, there are 5 pillars on which we are looking at Atmanirbhar Bharat. One is economy is not looking at incremental change, but is looking at a quantum leap. Earlier, we were just looking at small production enhancements. Now we are looking at a quantum leap, and we're talking about scaling up. We look at the startup sector, because the industry, we cannot exclude the startups also. We're looking at quantum leaps. How much can you scale up? So India has become actually a land of possibilities. And, everywhere, when you look at industry, anyone, professionals, informed people, everyone is jumping into this entrepreneurship bandwagon, which is actually, I don't think ever in history we're going to come back to a situation in which there'll be so much enthusiasm. Plus, the government, the ecosystem is also being is becoming an enabler. Because apart from, I can just talk about, since we have mostly people from the technology background, let me just say that, my experience, maybe even 5-6 years back, when there used to be pitches made by the India Advanced Studies or IITs, etc., business idea pitching, people were more concerned about the research that they were doing. But the fact about research getting commercialized, which is what my previous speaker was talking about, that, industry academia interface, that becomes very important. So all these things have started to happen, because now things have become very clear as to what are the opportunities. If supply chain is a disruption, then we know that, okay, these are the areas where we know packaging is an area where we know this is a technology which is required. So these are things which have become. So one pillar of Atmanirbhar Bharat is economy, which is talking about incremental change, not incremental change, but quantum leap. The second is the infrastructure. Huge infrastructure investments are being made everywhere. So this infrastructure in terms of all these incubation centers which have come up, where you can do in research, where you can do a lot of product development, etc. So where you start producing from there itself, this infrastructure is coming up. Not only that, infrastructure, roads, etc. Then we realized that we're making a 21st century technology has become so relevant today, and again, pandemic was an enabler for adapting technology. Pandemic was hastened the process by many times. They has hastened the process of adoption of technology. There was a recent survey made for the MSME sector, and it has found that how much MSME sector has actually gone for digitization. These are very so democracy, we were looking at India as a big democracy. Now we are saying democracy for self-reliance. This is the third pillar of Atmanirbhartha. But then we have to that's the fourth pillar. Then the strength. India as a country, we have strength of demand, we have the same strength of supply. So why we knew that India was looked upon as a country where there's a huge demand base, so whole world was looking at India as a big market. Now, if the supply is used intelligently, then India can actually leapfrog. So these things have become, these are the 5 pillars. And along with that, what is enabling the industry also is that there has been a lot of reforms. There's been a labor, we'll not go into detail, labor sector reforms, agricultural marketing reform, coal sector reform. Then there is the self-reliance in defense production, something very important. We have, so many startups solving problems for the defense sector, something which could never be conceived of maybe 6-7 years back. Then even the aircraft and the aerospace, there also, there are people who are drivers and this, solving problems for that sector. Then we have the technology-driven education. Now these are industries which are coming in, sectors where industries are coming up. Industry is not necessarily the brick and mortar industry. And of course, the entire facilitating the thing was happening through the ease of doing business. So these are giant strides actually. And these are becoming, these big steps are becoming enablers for industry, any industry to come up, whether it's a big industry, MSME. And why I was saying that MSME, when we look at industry, we look at MSME, because the entire country is looking at the MSME segment. We have about registered 6.3 crore units, which is officially giving employment to 11.10 crore people. The MSME sector accounts for 27% of the GDP. And this sector is very crucial for functioning because one of the biggest employment generator. And 45% of the exports happen through the MSME sector. I think now it's 50%. 50% share of the exports is through the MSME sector. So while MSMEs were mostly, small and tiny, now even the concept of small industry has grown. And then in the ecosystem, supplementing this is that, China plus strategy. By large, when we're saying we're dependent on so many things on China, and big countries are looking at diversifying their supply chain. Again, this is becoming a big opportunity for us. And when we look at industry, we need to remember that this is a complementary relationship between big enterprises and MSMEs, because the entire supply comes from the MSMEs. So the fact that, the small and the big, they grow together. Let me just, because I've been working primarily in Northeast. So Northeast, we don't have very many big industries. So what is happening? Where is the production happening? Production is more or less happening in the clusters which are coming up. It's a silent revolution actually which is happening. And these clusters are actually the production base. Clusters are because production base, because that's where the entire supply, if we look at which are the big industries in Guwahati or in Assam, how many can we name? And if we look at industrialization from that perspective, it doesn't work out. But then there are group entrepreneurship, which has grown in leaps and bounds. Maybe 3-4 years down the line, we will see a big shift happening in terms of production basis. This is something extremely encouraging. This is something extremely encouraging. And particularly when we look at Northeast, we also have to look at all the farmer producer companies, the collectives which are coming up. And so far, the technology, the farmer producer companies or the collectives or they are most not, using so much of technology. But, when we have startups looking at the rural sector and finding business opportunity at the bottom and using technology to help as an enabler, that's where the industry will start growing. So when we're looking at startups or most of the startups which are happening, coming up in this region, most of the startups here, that's the other segment, are coming up with ideas which have already been tried in rest of India. So how many of the startups are actually solving local problems? So the thrust has to be that these are pockets which have a lot of potential to explore, a lot of potential to see how the technology can be sort of solving some of the problems at the grassroots. So that's when we talk about industry, that is the entire gamut of industry, right from the grassroots to the MSME to the startups to the big industries. And a very recent, I would like to, I think I'm already crossing my time. And the last thing which I would like to say is that, MSMEs, very quickly, sectors which have potential, a quick survey was done. And I think some of the sectors which have been identified hold so much true for not only for the country, but even for the region. One is the hospitality and the tourism. This as a sector will continue to grow. And so we can't ignore this as a sector. Then textile and apparel and metal products. Of course, metal products, not so much here, but textiles, yes, definitely yes. And textile is a sector where there is a lot of small things are happening, a lot can happen. Look at a neighboring country, Bangladesh, which has become a textile hub, which is becoming the production base for almost most of the bigger countries. And when we look at the textile and the apparel, instead of looking at pan-India, we can look at the Southeast Asian context. Machinery parts, I'm not talking about the region, but pan-India. Transport and logistics. And of course, we are, the technology is a key strength. Software as a service continues to be a biggest opportunity for the country. And the more we start, we already, the whole world has started recognizing us. So definitely software as a service comes in, but when we have aligned what is required to the technology which is coming up, and the more we sort of transfer what has been researched to commercialization, that's when we can actually grow. And last 2 words from the region, which I can say is that we know that, nutraceutical, Ayurveda are the 2 big mantras today. Post-pandemic, again, people have become very health conscious. And this is the bed of, for,
Institute. And Satyanjan Sharma is a scientist to kindly deliver his speech.
Thank you for introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning. Now I will discuss something about the development of tea industry. Although it is a very vast subject, it is very difficult to summarize within a very short time. But I will highlight how the tea industry is progressed in Assam and what is the latest position and my contribution, our contribution to the development of the tea industry. I will go with my slide presentation. Is it visible there?
It's coming, but you have to share your slides. Slides are not coming. Your shared screen is coming, but slides are not coming.
Hello?
Share the slides.
Yeah, I'm sharing. Finest tea in the world, and it is having a lot of demand in the world tea market. The Assam tea is popular for its taste. Everybody knows these things. Assam is famous. Basically, the upper Assam tea that are producing very good teas. There is a wide variety of Assam tea with varying quality and grades. No doubt, CTC and Orthodox is the main tea produced in Assam, but nowadays there are so many other modified tea, I can say modified or developed tea are produced, which we call as oolong tea, white tea, Orthodox, like that. These are some of the photographs. These are the developed teas varieties. Initially, CTC and Orthodox, these two teas were there in the Assam industry, but nowadays a lot of modified or diversified teas are produced, like oolong tea, white tea, green tea, golden tea, purple tea, and yellow tea. These are having a very high impact on the economy of the of Assam, because some of these teas are selling at a very high price and it have a very high demand in the foreign countries. Assam produce about 51% of tea produced in 8 years old. In 1823, Robert Bruce discovered the tea plants growing wild in the upper Brahmaputra Valley, and during 1833, the acting government started the one tea garden in the Lakhimpur districts. First company of India to undertake the commercial production was the Assam Tea Company, which was formed in 1839. It took 10 years of time. When Mr. George Williamson, who was the pioneer of tea garden management, he took the charge, and in 1859, second important tea company, the Jorhat Tea Company, was formed. Subsequently, during 50s and 60s, it was extended to other parts of the country. Moniram Dewan was the first Assamese tea planter. Kelly Bember, a chemist who joined from the, he was appointed by the Joint Committee of IT and Agriculture and Horticulture, Society of Bengal, and he wrote a very important book on the chemistry of agriculture of tea, including growth and manufacture. He explained about the chemistry and soil and manure application in the tea. After that, Mr. George worked as an entomology, which was appointed by the government of India, and he was assigned to work on the tea blight and some of the medicinal herbs, Edatota vesica, for pest and disease control. During his work, he published his findings in the book The Pest and Blight of the Tea Plants in 1898. Then new era started during the appointment of Mr. Harold H. Mann, he was appointed as a scientific officer, and he basically started the research in tea. He suggested that the experimental station should be established in the central part of the tea district, preferably in the Jorhat, and as a result of that, the Tuklai Tea Research Institute is now standing here at Jorhat. Tuklai Tea Research Institute is an 111 years old institute, and from its inception since 1911, it is working for the development of a tea industry. The institute is having the largest and oldest research institute in the world. For the greater interest of the Tea Research Association is formed in 1964 to look after the management of its research outstations. Tuklai carries out and promote research on all aspects of tea cultivation and processing with principal objectives of improving overall productivity and quality. That is the main objective, how we can improve the productivity and make the better quality of tea. This is the 101 years of excellence. This is the health attributes of tea. We are focusing right now, enhancing tea quality, maximize the productivity, development of stress tolerance, because a lot of biotic and abiotic stress are creating problems in yield or production of the tea, ecological pest and disease management, mechanization. This is also one of the very vital issues, as because nowadays the shortage of manpower, we have to switch over the mechanical processes in tea manufacturing. Analytical support, advisory support, regulatory challenges, because in tea nowadays a lot of regulatory issues from the government of India, application of pesticide, MRL, a lot of issues are coming that is also to be addressed by TRA. Innovation of tea processing and manufacturing, value addition, climate change, and tea literature. These are some of the areas TRA is working on. This is the different districts of Northeast India where tea is growing, or our stations are there. I am now highlighting some of the activities. These are developed after the R&D, and these are widely used by the tea gardens. If you go any of the tea gardens in Northeast India or Assam, they are using the findings of the R&D developed at TRA. Up to 1950, clonal propagation from single nodal cuttings, then annual prune. We know that tea plant is pruned at a different level. That was also initiated during the 1950s. Importance of legume as a shade trees, the release of Toklai varieties TB1 to TB3, and drainage is also one of the major issues. The work on drainage was also started during 50s by TRA. During 15 to 59, release of another clones. The TB clone series are coming up slowly from 1 to 31. During 50 to 59, TB4 and to TB9 were released, standardization of tipping level, and introduction of herbicides. Then 60 to 69, release up to the TB17, biclone and cystac release was also done, balance and NPK manuring, introduction of longer pruning cycle from a 1 year pruning cycle, now it is shifted to 3 years and 4 years cycle. These are also one of the developmental criteria in the tea industry. Planting pattern and plant density, recommendation on herbicide. Then during 70 to 79, release of TB clones up to 24, and 3 biconal seed stocks were also released, that is 449, 450, and 397. Introduction of micronutrient. The nutrient is having the vital role in the production of tea, and the application of this micronutrient is also one of the findings of the R&D activities. Then drainage improvement and integrated pest and disease management. During 80 to 89, release of TB clones up to 28, 5 biconal seed stocks, release of 30 garden series clones, 15 for Dwars and Terai, and 15 for Darjeeling. Introduction of plant growth regulators for crop productivity. After application of the plant growth promoting substances, we can increase the productivity. Nowadays, instead of the chemicals, we are also trying to apply some of the plant growth promoting microbials, biocontrol agents that enhance the productivity. This is also one of the very promising sector in the tea industry. Introduction of tissue culture and polyploidy clones, irrigation and drainage, introduction of IPM, and during 1999, release of triploid clones, TB29, and 8 garden clones, biopesticide, trichodoma, package of availabilities. This biopesticide, microbial biocide, is one of the very, very vital and trust area. Most of the gardens are using for controlling pests and diseases, integrated pest and disease management, and these biocontrol agents are playing a major role in this integrated disease or pest management system. Introduction of drip irrigation, tissue culture techniques, new biclonal seeds, establishment of pesticide residue and heavy metal testing. This regulatory aspect also we have to look into, and conservation of tea germplasm. During 2000 to 2009, drought resistant cultivars, release of TB31. This is also one of the latest release, and new leguminous shade trees, Adananthera peregrina, because shade trees are also having important role in tea industry. Categorization of clone-based weathering and fermentation, development of diversified product, tea tablets, soft drinks. These were also developed, and it is also having potential in market. Development of biocontrol strategy, model factory establishment for optimization of the production or factory. These are some of the bioproducts, diversified products, the tea cola, biscuits, tea tablets. These are also the byproduct of the tea. During 2010 onwards, low-cost sticky trade for controlling pests and diseases, drought-tolerant clones. These are the 2 new clones developed by TTRI, TTRI-1 and TTRI-2. Already it is there in the tea industry. Most of the gardens are using these clones for mitigating the drought tolerance in the tea gardens. Then genetic diversity assessment of 123 commercially imported tea germplasms, NK technology. INM means integrated nutrient management practices for tea soil management, establishment training and research center for SDGs, and tea tourism hub, and work on tea health benefit. So current focus, climate change and adaptations. We are doing work on this climate change, how it will be affecting the tea industry, and a book was published by FAO in the year 2016, Mechanization of Tea Industry, introduction of different machines, new machines that can be used for the tea industry to sort out or to solve the labor shortage problems. One, new technologies, use of artificial intelligence, robotics, drones, data analysis, these are also need of the day, and everybody is now switching over to new technologies. These are also being used in the tea industry. On organic agriculture, this organic word or organic agriculture or organic tea is getting very important nowadays, because a lot of people are doing organic cultivation and they are getting good remuneration, good price by doing this organic cultivation. Therefore, we are also giving importance on organic tea production. Water management and irrigation, effective solution for water harvesting and optimizing the groundwater area production. INM, integrated nutrient management for soil, fertilizer application, fertigation, and use of biofertilizer. On quality, selection of different quality planting materials that can be used by the tea industry for better or enhanced liquor, color, and flavor. These are being used by the tea industry. On plant improvement, the different clones having the quality, drought resistant, high yielding plants, these are under biotechnological, by using the biotechnological instruments, we are doing the plant improvement part. On plant protection, non-chemical pest management, and use of different safe molecules, safe products is used, and these are being popularized among the tea industry. Nutraceuticals, value-added products, polyphenol, fortified water, soft drink, these are also another new areas. And energy efficient manufacturing in the factories is also one of the trust areas of our research. This is, I want to show you from backpack machines, slowly it is improving, power machines, tractor mounted machine. Now tea garden is using drone spray. By application of the drone, we are minimizing the chemical load in the tea industry so that we can use safe cup of tea for us. Now I am also highlighting the STG part. This is also very promising area. Nowadays, nobody can deny the role of the small tea growers in Assam, because they are now contributing more than 50% of the total production of the Assam. So now the small growers, they are having very good tea, very high quality of handmade teas, and they are selling in the foreign market with a good price. These are also one of the development of the small tea sectors in the tea. They have provided the technical support by the experts of TRA, and we're trying to motivate them. What are the fault they are doing during their cultivation that are trying to modify? We're rectifying those things, and we are trying to bring them in the line so that they can have their product with a good quality, and they can earn a lot of foreign revenues. A survey was conducted, and these are the figures saying that in 14 districts of Brahmaputra, 68,465 numbers of small tea growers. It is about 50% of the total production. Similarly, in different districts also, there are different numbers of tea small tea growers are there. No doubt, in Upper Assam, Dibrugarh and Tinsukia is having more small tea growers than the other districts. Total area of land under tea cultivation by the small growers is 117,000 acres, and more than 400 million kg of green leaf are produced by these small tea growers. Hence, they are contributing a huge amount of the tea to the tea industry. Though there is 90,000 registered STGs, but some source says it is more than 2 lakhs. Assam government during 2018 and 20 granted a project as an STG project, establishment of training and research center for small tea growers of Assam, with a project bill of 17 crore. Under this project, we have conducted 186 one-day workshop from Sodia to Dhuburi with the help of our outstations, and conducted 5 residential training of 10 days duration with an average participation of 70. Conducted 3 organic tea workshop of 5-day duration. They have been provided with all technical support and advice by the experts so that fine and better quality of tea can be produced. This is the infrastructure, small tea training and research cell. This was inaugurated by our former Chief Minister, Mr. Sabananda Sunwal, and he tweeted on these things, and he also emphasized on the utility or importance of the tea on health aspects. So we are also working on that line, and these are the training conducted in our this institute. Recently, I am getting on project multi-institutional approach on development technology-driven bio-input production. Means biological control are giving more importance by the government of India also. Under that project, these are the objective utilization of effective microbial formulation in mitigating biotic and abiotic stress in tea, ensure increased availability of biofertilizers and biopesticides through mass production with proper quality control following standard procedure, development of strong linkage and coordination among academia, industry, and farmers for development of effective network for manufacturing of biofertilizers and biopesticides in commercial scale, training and promotion of entrepreneurship at village level for mass production of biofertilizers and biopesticides, including ensure delivery system for the farming community of vegetable, spice, and tea of Northeast India. Under this project, we are giving importance to educate the small tea growers, and we are picking up some of the entrepreneurs so that they can produce own organic products, organic microbial biocide, as well as some herbal extract that can be used in their own field. These are the different bioproducts we are producing. This is the list. We have the one production unit, as I have already told you, that we are having the production unit per day. We are producing for controlling different pests and diseases. Recently, H.N. Goswami, our ML of Jowat, also visited our production lab, and these are some of the photographs showing the demonstration or training to the small tea growers, and we are also providing the biocontrol agents, and these are being used in the tea garden of the small tea growers so that they can produce organic tea, and demand of their tea should be more and more. These are some of the training programs we have conducted in village level under this program. We have published some of the leaflets just to educate these tea growers as well as small tea growers. So now our main aim to create a healthy tea sections. This is a very healthy tea section, and from this healthy tea we can fill our baskets with healthy teas, and from that healthy teas we can make different colored of teas, and you can choose your color teas. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Satyaranjan Sharma, for enlightening with us the recent development in tea industries. By tea, we mean only this CTC tea, orthodox, and all these things. But the various aspects like effect of climate change, then mechanization, use of artificial intelligence, byproducts of teas, all these things can help us in achieving Atmanirbhartha through tea industry. And thank you very much for your kind presence and deliberation. If anybody is having any query, they may ask.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
I have a question to Dr. Sir. By using mass pesticides, most of the people are generally not interested in using tea directly. Why cannot we produce more green tea?
Actually, sir, that's I'm highlighting to that point, because chemicals nowadays the situation is that nobody can use hard pesticides in the industry, because there is one PPC, Plant Protection Code, which is circulated by Government of India. Some of the pesticides which are evaluated by TRA or some other research organization, South India or somewhere else, only those chemicals which are having less toxicity or it is degraded within the 7 days of time, that pesticides are only allowed in the PPC, and tea gardens are now bound to sign that IMPPC compliance. Means those recommended pesticides can only be used by the tea industry, otherwise their consignment will be rejected by the buyers. So in this case, there's a lot of restriction is there. That's why we are also trying to incorporate integrated pest and disease management. The implementation of microbial biocide, herbal extract. Our main motto is to how we can reduce the load of chemicals and we can make a safe cup of tea for the consumers. In this line, we are working, and planters also expecting these things. They are also very much interested on using this integrated pest and disease management. In another point, if you apply hard chemicals repeatedly, then the situation will be like that. You cannot control the pest and diseases. Resistance will be developed. to break that resistance also, this type of microbial interventions and biological intervention is quite necessary, and now it is in the process. Everybody is doing that one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Satyaranjan Sharma.
I have, excuse me, I have one small question.
Yeah, ma'am.
It is not relating to your presentation.
Yeah.
Actually,
I will
I'm
try
very
to
fond of, yeah, I'm very fond of having black tea. Okay. Morning, evening, whole day I take black tea. But I remember someone telling me that he was also working in a tea garden.
Okay.
He said he always add a little bit of milk. Direct black tea is not good for health. So is it true? Because though I know that I don't use... Huh?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Now, is your question is complete, ma'am? Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hello.
Your question is complete.
Yeah. Just that.
You see, I am also fond of black tea. I am also not using milk with tea, because if it depends upon the person to person. But if you use milk, then from my side, I am not getting the taste which is there in the tea. So most of the people are taking black tea, because black tea, if you take as a black tea, you'll be getting all the components there in the tea. Nobody knows that whether after getting the or addition of the milk, whether some their properties will lose or it will gain. I'm not want to tell you right now. So it depends. Some people are getting milk tea better than black tea, but preferably I also prefer black tea.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
নমস্কাৰ, মই যোগাযোগ কলিতাৰ প্ৰশ্ন এটা সুধিব পাৰো নেকি?
Yes, পাৰিব।
হয়, কথাটো হৈছে যে আমি জানো যে অসমত অজস্ৰ বনৌষধি উদ্ভিদ আছে, গছ আছে বুলি আমি গম পাইছো, পঢ়িবলৈ পাইছো। গতিকে এনেকুৱা এটা তুলনামূলক অধ্যয়ন হৈছে নেকি যে এতিয়া যিখিনি ঠাইত আমাৰ ক্ষুদ্ৰ চাহ বাগিচা খেতি কৰিছে, তাৰ সলনি তাত যদি আমি এই বিভিন্ন প্ৰজাতিৰ বনৌষধি খেতিখিনি কৰোঁ, তেতিয়া উদ্ভিদ বৈচিত্ৰ্য বাঢ়িল আৰু আন্তৰ্জাতিক বা স্থানীয় পৰ্যায়ত আমি আৰ্থিকভাৱেও অধিক লাভৱান হ'ম। এনেকুৱা কিবা তুলনামূলক অধ্যয়ন কৰি চাইছে নেকি? আমি জৈৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্য সংৰক্ষণৰ দিশৰ পৰা কথাটো মই জানিবলৈ বিচাৰিছো।
হয়, আপুনি এইটো খুব ভাল প্ৰশ্ন কৰিছে। মই অসমীয়াতে কৈছো, যিহেতু তেখেতে অসমীয়াতে প্ৰশ্নটো সুধিছে। আপুনি খুব ভাল প্ৰশ্ন কৰিছে। আমাৰ চাহ বাগানৰ কিছুমান অদৰকাৰী মাটি থাকে, সেই মাটিখিনিত জৈৱ বৈচিত্ৰ্যৰ ফালৰ পৰা যথেষ্ট সংখ্যক মেডিচিনেল প্লান্ট ইউজ কৰা হয়। আমি এই ক্ষেত্ৰত অকমান ফকাছ কৰিছো। তাৰোপৰিও চাহ বাগানত এনেকুৱা কিছুমান গছ আছে যিবিলাকৰ মেডিচিনেল প্ৰপাৰ্টিজ আছে, সেইবিলাকৰ পেষ্ট এণ্ড ডিজিজ কণ্ট্ৰলৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত যথেষ্ট সহায় হয়। যেনে আপোনাক ধপাত তিতা, তাৰপিছত আপোনাৰ ধৰক এই মহানিম বা কলমৌ, মাটিত গজা পানীত ঘোৱা কলমৌ, এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিছুমান গছৰ মিশ্ৰণ আমাৰ বিভিন্ন আমি পদ্ধতি আমি উলিয়াইছো। সেই পদ্ধতিৰ দ্বাৰা ব্যৱহাৰ কৰি আমি পেষ্ট এণ্ড ডিজিজ কণ্ট্ৰলৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত আমি কৰিছো। অলৰেডি এইখিনি আমি বিভিন্ন পুস্তিকা বনাইছো, কিতাপ আকাৰেও আমি উলিয়াইছো। আমাৰ টোকলাইত লাইব্ৰেৰীটো খিনি পোৱা যায়। গতিকে এইখিনি আমি বৰ্তমান সমাজত, মানে চাহ সমাজত, চাহ বাগানত আমি এইখিনি পপুলাৰাইজ কৰিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিছো আৰু অলৰেডি এইটো এষ্টাব্লিছ হৈছে। গতিকে এই মেডিচিনেল প্লান্টৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত আমি যদি পদ্ধতিগতভাৱে চিষ্টেমেটিক ৱে যদি আমি মেডিচিনেল প্লান্টখিনি চাহ বাগানত লগাওঁ, নিশ্চয় বায়'ডাইভাৰ্চিটিৰ ক্ষেত্ৰতো সহায় হ'ব আৰু এটা কৰাটো অত্যন্ত জৰুৰী কথা।
ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you, Dr. Satyaranjan Sharma. We'll regularly interact. I think if any more questions are there, we will share the email ID, then you can ask through email also. Now we are moving on to Dr. Azizur Rahman. He will be speaking on the Muga Silk of Assam, because today we are covering different sectors. First we have started with hydrocarbon, then overall industrial scenario, then tea industry. Now we are moving on to the sericulture, particularly Muga Silk of Assam. And we have with us Dr. Azizur Rahman, Principal in charge of Sericulture Training Institute, Titabar. So he has acquired a vast experience, around more than 30 years of experience in this field, in sericulture industries on various schemes and projects funded by Ministry of Textile, Government of India, Northeastern Council, World Bank, etc., for extension and development of sericulture to alleviate the poverty in rural and semi-urban populations. He has several books for publications like the Gwalpara District Silk Directory, Muga, Handbook of Sericulture, Demonstration for Farm, Center and Circle, etc. I invite Dr. Azizur Rahman to kindly start his presentation. Over to Dr. Rahman.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I am talking about the Muga silk of Assam because silk industry greatly influenced to the Atmanirbhartha. There are, first of all, I am telling you what is silk, what is sericulture. Sericulture is the art of production of silk, and silk is produced by the proteaginous filament by insect, commonly known as silkworm. In Assam, we produces 4 varieties of silk. Mulberry silk, in Assamese it is called next. Next. Yes, in Assam we produces 4 different varieties of silk. Mulberry silk, in Assamese we call part silk. Temperate tussor silk, it is found in Difu and Karbiang Dima Asau districts, and Eri silk, mostly all over the district of Assam, and Muga silk. The 4 varieties silk produces in Assam. And all the silkworm has their own food habits. Muga silk, mulberry silk feeds mulberry morasalba, that is we call Assamese silk nuni, then tosor, arjun, asan, and oak. And Muga silk is from Persia, Bombacina, Swallow, Digloti, Medampuri. These are the primary food plants of Muga silkworm. And Eri silkworm, we reared in castor, kesiru, payam, tapioca. These are the food plants. Next. Assam is the 3rd largest silk producer in the India and highest producer of Muga silk, because Muga is only found in Northeast India and especially in Assam. More than 90% produced in Assam. Muga, the golden yellow silk, has already geographical indication registration by the estate. Muga is the first first item of state obtained GI tag. Next. Importance of Muga culture. Muga culture has traditionally major economic activity Northeast India of the country. Muga silkworm Antheria assama westwood produces natural golden yellow Muga silk. Nowhere in the world occupies a unique position of world's sericulture map. It is also known as Queen of Textiles. Muga silk is eco-friendly occupation. Next. Next. Advantages practicing Muga culture, although in the year, because Muga silkworm rearing continued up to 4 to 6 crops in a year. Then employment generated in various activities, growing like food plants, production of seeds, rearing of silkworm, reeling of cocoons, and weaving. There are several activities for production of Muga culture. Involvement of women to extend 60%. Here, if you see the different activities of Muga culture, more than 60% women are involved. Next. It is short crop cycle. only 30 to 45 days required for rearing of cocoons. And if you see the other cash crops, it takes more than 2 to 3 months. But here, in case of muga culture, we get our cash crop as a cash crops, we can get within 30 days, we can harvest it. Availability of low cost technology. Here, there are several low cost technologies there. Regular income to the farmers. If you rear muga, you have regular income, because if you sell the pupa, it will you will get this money. If you sell the cocoons, you will get the money. If you reel the cocoons, then you sell the silk, you will get the money. Every time or regularly you get the money. Low investment and relative high return. In case of sericulture, it will very low investment, but the return is very high, because the cash flow like this, cash flow of muga culture growing 54.6% go to the cocoon growers, 17% go to the traders, weavers 12.3%, twister 8.3%, and reelers 6.5%. The cash flow of muga culture you can get like that. Next. We said that sericulture plantation contributes soil conservation and provides green cover. Presently, in the environmental seasons, we require the plantation. But in case of food plants of muga silkworm, there are evergreen tree. So it is very covered to the green covers. Post plantation cultivation rear of silkworm give the golden color of silk. In case of production of silk, muga silk, it is necessarily golden color. No need to dye. And create opportunity to the raise agriculture other crops as intercrop. We can use as intercrop in agriculture also. And prune materials, the branch and stems are also contributes as a fuel. Some tree perennial evergreen good canopy, best materials for green coverage by roadside beautification also. Next. Utilize in social and cultural affairs which act as the symbolic of some state. Diversified muga silk now represents as a exportable items. Muga washed pupae consumed as protein rich food. Next. In Assam, there are 8,726 numbers of village practice muga culture, and family engaged near about 30,000. Muga culture is mainly distributed in the Kamrup, Gwalpara, Udalguri, Kokrajhar, Tinsukia, Dibrugarh, Shivsagar, Jorhat, Lakhimpur, and Dhemaji districts. Next. If we see the production last 3 years, we can see 1920, 159.86 metric ton. In 2021, 160.33 metric ton. 2022, 172.4 metric ton. Next. I show here the life cycle of muga silkworm. Muga, I think you know all. Muga silkworm has 4 stages: egg, then larva, caterpillar, then pupa, then moths. Next. Activities of muga culture already I have told. Different activities: host plant, raising of host plant and their management, production of seed and silkworm rearing, silk reeling, spinning of cocoons, and weaving of fabrics and marketings. If you tell the Atmanirbhartha, if you we can go any of these activities. If you have land, then you can go cultivation of raising of host plants or making nursery also. Presently, nursery is very demand. You can go nurseries also. Then seed production, this egg production, then rearing of silkworm, production of cocoons. Then if you production of cocoons, then you can get the pupa also to selling. Then reeling, spinning of the silk wash, weaving of fabrics, Muga fabrics you can, then marketing. Nowadays, the World Trade Organization give a great chance for foreign marketing. Next. Here I show the different food plants. Soom and swallow, the primary food plants. Next. Digloti and Mezankuri, the secondary food plants. You see the Mezankuri, during the Home King, they reared on the Mezankuri tree and uses the Mezankuri silk as a king cup. Next. I show the propagation of this. For propagation, we make the nurseries. Next. These are nurseries. Next. Next. Management of nurseries. These are the management of nurseries. Next. And this is plantation. Next. 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 I show here the systematic plantation. If you grow a systematic plantation, then you can rear the silkworm. And we also need management of plants. Next. These are the activities of management of plant: weeding, pruning, manuring, mulching, irrigation, and protection of conservation of diseases. These are the activities. We need the several labors required in these are the activities. Next. 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 These are pruning activities. Next. 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 This is mulching. Next. A disease of silkworm. Next. Next. Before rearing, we clean the plants. Next. Here I show for first lady is white dress in white color. He give the small tiny silkworm to the plants. After that, second figure I show the red color woman. When the silkworm matured and come down, they collect the matured worms and put in the jali. Next. Next. These are the disease silkworm. Next. Next. Wasps also take the Muga silkworm. Next. This is the matured silkworm. It is very interesting. We give the small tiny silkworm to the plants and become grow bigger, and at the time evening they come down like that for making the cocoons. We collect and we put in jali. Next. We collect, here we see the in evening we collect the worms. Next. We put in the leaf jali. Next. This larva making the cocoons, you see. Yeah. After 4 or 5 days, next. After 5 to 6 days, we collect the cocoons and these are the cocoons. Next. These cocoons are ready for marketing. We give 2 sets, one for continue our next generation. It is called grainage, and next we make the production we use for production of silk. Next. Here there are small market is there. Some middlemen also collect from the cocoons from going door to door of the farmers and collect the cocoons. The present rate is 3 to 4 rupees per cocoons. Next. Next. These are the activities of cleaning up, disinfection of the rearing house, greenhouse house. Next. Here I show how the moths comes out from the cocoons. Next. Next. These are the greenhouse activities. Next. 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 Here we show the examination of female moths because silkworm affected the disease and pebrine disease, and it carries to next generation. That is why we examine the female moths. Next. Drilling of cocoon. Traditionally, we make the silk by fear. Presently, we make the cocoons CSRTI machine. I have shown next slide. Next. This is the stifling of cocoons. Next. This is also machine of stifling of cocoons. Next. Before reeling, we sorted the cocoons. Next. It is show the boiling of cocoons. Here I show this slide. Left side is traditional process. We make the cocoons by fear. And last one, it is developed by CSRTI, the power operated reeling machines. Next. This slide shows the hand making of the silk. Next. Here I show the golden silk. This is the natural golden silk. Presently, its price 22,000 to 26,000 per kg. Next. These are the silk wash. This silk wash also we use as a ghisha yarn, and we make the this coats, then stoles like that. Next. This is the process how we make the ghisha yarn. Next. Next. This is the process of weaving, muga silk weaving. Next. Next. Bobbin warping. Next. Muga looms. Next. Product diversity. Before traditionally we make the saris, mekhela, gamusa, tuti, and made homeless for home. Presently, there are several diversified product produces from the muga silk. Next. You see, there are several different products. A plain than is there, then stole, then side dresses, then mekhela sadors, then bags, ladies' purse, then mobile bags. Like that, there are different colors. Next. You see the hat, then making umbrella also, jackets, shoes, these traditional dresses, dhoti and kurta. There are several dresses making from muga silk. Next. A foreigner are mainly attracted by the muga fabrics. Here I show. Next. There are several constraints of muga culture. Lack of adequate plantation. Major farmers follow the traditional practices. Lack of modern knowledge of farmers. Maximum products are traditional oriented, and lack of value addition. Non-availability of ideal device for reeling and spinning, as well as weaving. Next. Future prospects of and strategies. increase of acreage of underfoot plants. There are several land is there or washed land is there. We can increase our footprint acreages. Creation of infrastructure support to marketing agriculture products. There are a scope to create market support, market place, value addition and diversification of finished products. Still, we need several scope for diversification in products, introduction of new designs in fabrics, and create acceptability in national and international levels. Next. Diversified products made from Muga silicon are an exportable items in India as well as abroad. Countries like Japan, China, South Korea, Malaysia, and thus capable of earnings of foreign exchange. Where there is a scope for enhancing rural economy, so it need to enhance the production by creating more assets and awareness among the farmers as well as stakeholders. There are several scopes for making to enhance their rural economy through agriculture. Next. Thank you. This is nutshell of Muga culture in Assam. You can ask any question you have.
Thank you, Dr. Azizur Rahman. So we have highlighted how Muga silk industry can help us in achieving the Atmanirbhartha. The Muga industry is a very important sector in Assam. Muga and overall sericulture. We are now running short of time actually. We have one more presentation today. I think one I have seen on Sudipta Das has raised her hand. Only one question you can take. If she wants to ask any question, Sudipta Das. Okay. If not, we are now moving on to our final presentation today. Thank you, Dr. Rahman.
Thank you, sir.
Our next presentation is by Dr. Utpal Sharma, Professor of Instrumentation and USIC in University Scientific Instrumentation Center, Guwahati University. He will mainly speak on the making India self-reliant in electronics and instrumentation for Atmanirbhar Bharat. So, Professor Sharma has a very long experience in this area. Mainly his research interests include smart sensor, embedded systems, instrumentation for agro-based industries, special emphasis on tea industry. Already, Dr. S.R. Satyaranjan Sharma has shown how tea industry is using drones and artificial intelligence, MEMS device for energy harvesting. So he's a very reputed teacher in electronics and instrumentation. I invite Professor Sharma to deliver his speech.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how much time I'll speak on this topic?
15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Barua. And I thank Aztec for giving me the opportunity to share my feeling and the requirement of instrumentation in the present context. So let us start with a small presentation. Is it visible? My presentation is visible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So making India self-reliant in electronic and instrumentation for Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this is the theme of my topic, and I'll try to speak the requirement and also what we have done till now from our department for in this direction. So need of instrumentation, all of we understand the requirement of instrumentation, but before that, what is instrumentation? Because when we talk about instrumentation and electronics, both will come together, but instrumentation is a broader perspective. When you talk about the word instrumentation, it basically the art and science of measurement and control. Basically it measures and then it gives the control. So though this is the basic definition, nowadays this instrumentation word has a very vast, definition we have to derive. So when we talk about this word, basically a picture comes to our mind like this. There will be some equipment, there will be some operators, or some mechanical equipments or industrial components that we talk about. And if we talk about the application area, then we generally think about the industry is major stakeholder of use of instrumentation, healthcare, even agriculture, then in our vehicle system. But when in today's context, the definition, the imagination on instrumentation is a little different. So what the instrumentation can do, what will be the role of instrumentation in addressing the present requirement of the society? One major requirement of the society is healthcare, and instrumentation has a very big role to play with healthcare. Agriculture already our esteemed speaker has spoken about that requirement of technology in agriculture is there. So climate change is another big issue. So how the instrumentation can play a role in climate change to address the issues related to climate change, food security, child health, then primary education. There are ample opportunities of instrumentation to enter to this field: gender equity, flood and erosion, clean and green energy, conservation of natural resources, sustainable development, and social security and justice. In all these social problems, instrumentation can play a big role. I'll come to that, how they can play a big role. So if you talk about the instrumentation and today's world, we have to think in a different way. In 1784, the first revolution of industry, when the first power loom was developed. So it is basically a steam powered power loom. So that was considered as first revolution, first industrial revolution. Industry 2.0, the second revolution, when mass production in electricity was emerged, and there was a assembly line production was possible after the second revolution. In the third revolution, the electronics and information technology enters, and automation was addressed through PLC, microprocessor, microcontroller, etc. And currently, the fourth revolution, Industry 4.0, the cyber physical system. It is not only a system that is related to the industry, it is related to the customer, it's connected to the customer, it is connected to the application engineer, it is connected to the machine, it's connected to the robot, it is connected to the big data. So it's a very big, domain going to be addressed by this Industry 4.0. And it is emerging in, it is entering to every field of industry. So this is a diagram I have taken from this, literature, a survey of instrumentation, information and communication technologies for Industry 4.0, state-of-the-art taxonomy. And this was published in IEEE Communications Survey and Tutorials. This is a very reputed journal with impact factor more than 25. So there also it is defined the first industrial revolution, where the mechanization was occurred with the steam engine. Assembly line production was enabled by electricity, availability of the electricity, and mass production was enabled there. Then third revolution, computing was introduced with that. Assembly line and mass production. Automation was incorporated, robotics was incorporated, and along with electronics in the third revolution. But in the fourth revolution, it's quite different. So all the components will be there. Along with that, there will be a lot of other components like blockchains, open source software, internet of things, cloud computing, fog and mobile computing, big data, robotics, human machine interaction, all will be clubbed together to get the 4.0, and all are interconnected. So in that context, what is the requirement of instrumentation? Okay, so this Industry 4.0, so if you talk about, there are several components. The products coming out of Industry 4.0 is not an ordinary product, it's a smart product. So this product, after selling the product, it will also be connected with the company, the manufacturer, CEO, the user, to all the stakeholders. This product will be get connected. Product can be monitored. The status of the product can be monitored. The augmented operator, the smart machine. So they will be connected with robotics, IoT, human-computer interface, big data, artificial intelligence, fog computing, broadband wireless access, cloud computing, internet, and free softwares, blockchains. All are interconnected to get a smart product. Let us look into a 1-minute video to just visualize what does Industry 4.0 or the modern instrumentation talk about. This is basically demonstrates the interconnection in a factory with the product, with the person, with the machine, with the robots, with the big data, and all the required components in industry modern instrumentation. The video is playing, no, Dr. Borua?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is playing.
Yeah. Just a 1-minute video. So this is a flavor how this modern instrumentation and modern industry works. Industry 4.0, it's a recent revolution, and it is going to replace all the traditional industrial requirement presently working. Industry 4.0 is the information intensive transformation of manufacturing in connected environment of big data. These are the attributes or the components that we need for running Industry 4.0. People, processes, then services. We need systems, IoT-enabled industrial assets. And if you look into the real industry, so basically when you talk about an industry or a factory, then at the bottom level, we have the sensor and actuator to measure the parameters, field level parameters to control something. So at the hierarchy, if you talk about the vertical integration of Industry 4.0, at the bottom of that hierarchy, the sensors and actuators will be there, which will communicate with the external world. Above that, we have the programmable logic controller, that is basically the process control mechanism, where the control level will be there. It will regulate the machinery system. Then at the third hierarchy, we will have SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition, which will interconnect the PLCs with some program, with some computer program. This is the industrial control system. It will be in the production level, which will monitor and control the supervision of the product line, the quality of product, on controlling the process conditions. Then at the next level of SCADA, that level 4, it's a manufacturing execution system called MES, that all operations like SCADA, ERP will work together. So ERP will also work together with the SCADA, such that the requirement from the users will be incorporated for the production level. Then finally, the enterprise planning level, where according to the planning, the SCADA will work, PLC will work, and sensor actuators will be placed, and it will control the entire system. So the Industry 4.0, if you talk about, and the hierarchical vertical integration, if you talk about, we require all the requirements that I have shown you. Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, all requirements will be there, but along with that, the interconnection among all the components will make a Industry 4.0. Now, what the role, the IoT, when you talk about the Internet of Things, then what will be the role of IoT in Industry 4.0? Because this is one of the, very important component of Industry 4.0. So when you talk about IoT, all the components in Industry 4.0 will be connected with some IoT, but IoT will not only work for Industry 4.0. We need other attributes, other parameters And with all these parameters, we require some expertise. So for example, cloud computing. For running Industry 4.0, if we go for self-reliant India, Atmanirbhartha, then we need expertise on cloud computing, we need expertise on big data, we need expertise on artificial intelligence, data analysis, storage, computing power, HMI and SCADA, then manufacturing execution system that already I have mentioned called MES, then enterprise resource planning, then programmable logic controllers, sensors and actuators, MEMS transducer, innovative data exchange models. So if you look into these requirements, most of the attributes or most of the components, we are still not Atmanirbhar, I mean not self-reliant. We have to depend on other countries. Say for example, when you think about a MEMS, when you think about a PLC, we have to depend on the other developed countries. So we have a lot of opportunities to develop our human resource in those fields such that we can become the Atmanirbhar Bharat and implement Industry 4.0. So when you talk about Internet of Things, how it works, it can work in healthcare, it can work in smart building, and that requirement is coming, and it can work in Industry 4.0. So Industry 4.0, it's a standard and defined by Industrial Electro Technical Commission, a reference model called RAMI 4.0, that is the reference architectural model for industry. In all industries, to switch over to Industry 4.0, these standards have been defined. So this 4.0 is a three-dimensional map. This is a three-dimensional map showing how approach to issue the Industry 4.0 requirement in a structured manner. 4.0 ensures that all participants involved in Industry 4.0 discuss and understand each other through those standards. Then Industry 4.0 is basically a service-oriented architecture. 4.0 combines all elements of IT components in a layer and lifecycle model. Breaks down 4.0, RAMI 4.0 breaks down the complex processes into easy to grasp packages, including data privacy and IT security. Because when we have to convert a traditional industry to Industry 4.0, we have to understand each block to implement each component. So this is a three-dimensional model where there will be three axes. This is axis 1, axis 2, and axis 3. So in axis 1, axis 2, and axis 3, it is defined by International Electrochemical Commission IEC 62890 standard, IEC 62264 standard, IEC 61512 standard. So following this, we have to convert our industry to this, and these are the requirements. So if you talk about the axis 1, this, as I have shown you, this is the axis 1. So axis 1 includes, it's basically the Industry 3.0 structure. It is basically a 3.0 structure because we will have that basic Industry 3.0 structure, and above that we will develop our own Industry 4.0 structure. So in Industry 3.0, so we'll have field devices, control devices, station, work center, enterprise, all will be there. But if you look into the products are disconnected, products are isolated. These are not smart products. They are not connected with the enterprise. They are not connected with the work centers. So Industry 4.0 has a possibility to integrate them to a common platform. So the axis 1 is basically on that topic. So products are isolated, but if you want to convert to Industry 4.0, what we have to do in axis 1, we have to make interconnection among the product with different layers of Industry 4.0. Axis 2, as I have shown you in the early diagram, axis 2, development, maintenance, use, production, and maintenance uses. So there are two parts: development and maintenance uses, and production maintenance uses. One is development and then maintenance, and production and maintenance. So when you talk about the product, after production also, the company will have a liability, company will have a role to look into the product, how the product is running, what are the drawbacks in the product, what are the fault facing by the product, when you require some maintenance on the product. That will be possible if we integrate 4.0 to our industry. Then XS3 basically the architectural architecture. It's a physical things of the real world. Then transition from real to digital world. Access to information, necessary data incorporation, function of the assets that we need to incorporate. Then organization and business processes to be included in the architecture. So this is all about, and then finally we require security. So these are the domain where we require expertise to move to Atmanirbhar Bharat. And I'll finish my talk minutes by introducing what we are doing, the Department of Instrumentation and USIC Guwahati University in this particular direction. So Guwahati University Department of Instrumentation and USIC has 3 wings. One is academic, where we provide MSc in Instrumentation and Applied Physics and PhD in Instrumentation. And we have one facility called University Science Instrumentation Center, where we provide academic research support to the users, basically the academic users of Guwahati University and other nearby academic institutes. And we have a sophisticated analytical instrument facility where some sophisticated analytical instruments are installed, which were supported by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. This is a national facility. So these are 3 basic wings of our department. And if you talk about the academics, what we are doing in the context of Atmanirbhar Bharat till now. So we have introduced these, contents in our curriculum. We teach measurement techniques, sensor and actuator, control system, which are requirement of Industry 4.0, industrial instrumentation and process control, microprocessor, microcontroller, industrial automation, PLC and SCADA, communication and digital signal processing, material science. These are also the basic requirements of Industry 4.0. Then other advanced topics like forensic instrumentation, analytical instrumentation, biomedical instrumentation, IoT and machine learning, and embedded system. So our main focus is to make Atmanirbhar Bharat, to make self-reliant India. So for that, we have to develop human resource, and we are working on that. And for example, when we talk about an instrument that we need for analysis, we have to rely on the other countries, developed countries, because that instrumentation culture, we feel this is lacking in our society. So we have to develop that. Then only we can make our own instrument. We can customize our own instrument to make Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the requirement for instrumentation and electronics, as I have discussed about the Industry 4.0, all the requirements of Industry 4.0, the requirements we are trying to fulfill for the society. So with this, I like to conclude, because I have completed, 19 minutes I have taken. So as Dr. Buru has given me only 20 minutes, so I like to finish within time. So thank you. And if you have any, queries, or if you want to say some comment on my lecture, I invite you for that.
Can I add one thing? Yeah, sir, can I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, as you have mentioned rightly, I have also highlighted the role of the machineries in agriculture. In tea industry also, long back, different grades were sorted out by hand. But nowadays, so sophisticated instruments are installed in the tea factories. Automatically by the sensors, it can be segregated. These are the advantage, development. And in green leaf also, by inserting some probe, you can detect how much chemical, pesticide, these are used in the tea garden. So these are the advantage, development of the machinery as well as in the agriculture sectors. These are the promising areas. These are the way forward we have to look on these issues. Thank you for your presentations.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have known very much about Muga silk, and thank you for your presentation, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you.
Honorable, now let me offer vote of thanks. Honorable Director Aesthetics, Kimni Sanction Madam, respected speakers, our most valuable guests, and ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose vote of thanks on this occasion of Vigyan Utsav I, on behalf of Assam Science, Technology and Environment Council and the entire fraternity of Science and Technology here today, and on my own behalf, a very hearty vote of thanks to all the speakers for gracing the important work, sharing with us your opinions today on the theme of Atmanirbhartha and industry. A big thank you to Sri Garalal Das, General Manager Environment, Director General of Hydrocarbons, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Government of India, for efforts towards keynote speech on industry and Atmanirbhartha. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Dr. B. Borua, Faculty and Head, Center for Industrial Extension, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Guwahati, for her explanation of the contribution of industry towards Atmanirbhartha. I may like to express our sincere thanks to Dr. Saityaranjan Sharma, Senior Scientist, Department of Mycology and Microbiology, Tukulai Tea Research Institute, Jorhat, for giving excellent coverage to growth and development of tea industry in Assam. Further, we are grateful to Dr. Azizur Rahman, Principal Sericulture Training Institute, Titabor, Jorhat, for his speech, Muga Silk of Assam. I also wish to express my gratitude to Dr. Utpal Sharma, Professor and Head, Instrumentation and UC, Guwahati University, for providing encouragement speech on making India self-reliant in electronics and instrumentation for Atmanirbhartha. We are all inspired by your great words. Finally, I would like to take an opportunity in place of record our hearty thanks to Dr. Devopriya Datta, Advisor, SSTP, DST Government of India, Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Senior Scientist, DST Government of India, Mr. Ravi Khan, DST Government of India, for their support and guidance to all of us for successful organization of Vigyan Utsav. I also extend my thanks to Punjab State Assembly Council for coordinating this event for this month, and also State Science and Technology Council of the country for their cooperation and participation in this event. A special mention to our respected Director Estate, Srimati Kimni Sangchan, for dynamic leadership. With deep sense of appreciation, we thank for her efforts. I would also like to thank Dr. Joydeep Bora, Head Science and Technology Division of Estate, for his efforts and make the event successful. Our sincere gratitude goes to all the participants, well-wishers, for their support and encouragement. An event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels rolling weeks ago. It's been personal to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues of Aztec who know are result-oriented. Once again, I add that we are almost grateful to all the speakers for being with us this afternoon. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you once again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Aztec, for
Thank
giving.
you all.
Thank you,
once again.
Aztec, for organizing.
We'll
Thank
meet
you.
next month. We'll meet next month.
Thank you, Aztec, for
Yeah,
organizing
we'll
such a
meet
wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Next month topic will be intellectual property rights. I think we'll have some more eminent speakers. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Definitely, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay.